Hey everyone, I hope you're okay. So today I'm going to be talking about my experience of being on Roaccutane and my journey on the treatment and how I got on over the 6 months that I was taking the tablets. So I wanted to do a bit of an overview of why I decided to go on Roaccutane, how I got prescribed Roaccutane, the whole kind of process, and then how I actually dealt with being on Roaccutane and the side effects. And also I'll be showing you some kind of pictures of my skin before, during, and this is what my skin looks like right now. So I wanted to film this video with no makeup on because I wanted to make a bit of a point about the fact that before Roaccutane I would have never have done this in a million years. I'll get on to kind of that in a minute, but yeah, I'd have never ever filmed a video with no makeup on. Like, I used to do makeup tutorials and I'd be trying to get on makeup onto my face so quickly. So yeah, so I wanted to film this video with absolutely no makeup on so you can kind of see what my skin looks like now. It's not perfect by any means, I've still got a bit of redness, and I've also got a couple of spots on this side, but when I compare it to what it was like before the treatment, it is literally 100 times better. So yeah, so I've also put on a turtleneck because I was like, my face is like 10 shades paler than the rest of me and it would look ridiculous. So that is why I'm wearing this in the summer. But hey ho. So yeah, so I thought that I'd make a video kind of covering everything. It's probably going to be quite a long video, so you might want to grab yourself a drink. And yeah, let's settle down and let's chat about Roaccutane. So first of all, I'm going to be talking about why I decided to go on Roaccutane. Now, if you don't know what Roaccutane is, it is a treatment which is used to treat acne and other kind of skin conditions, but it's mainly well known for treating acne. It's also known by Accutane, and I think the proper name for it is essie, something like that. I will pop links down below to the NHS website so you can kind of have a bit more of a read about it if you are interested. But basically how it works, it is a form of vitamin A. It's like a retinoid, and it shrinks the oil glands in your body, so your body isn't producing as much oil, which can contribute to acne. It also is anti-inflammatory and also antibacterial, so altogether it kind of helps to completely kind of clear up the skin. Roaccutane is quite a severe drug. It's not something you can just go and get from your doctors. You do have to be referred to a dermatologist, which I will talk a little bit more in depth in a minute. But it's a very severe drug. Doctors don't just hand it out whatsoever, and it does have some pretty severe side effects which you may have heard of. I will get into some of them in a little bit later, but it's had a lot of negative attention in the press. People have said that it has led to depression. There was a big study about it contributing to depression in males. It's very harsh on the body, it's very drying, and yeah, there's a lot of horror stories out there, and when I went to the dermatologist, she did say to me, don't Google it because you'll scare yourself. But it also has a lot of positive stories too about how it has completely cleared up people's skin. And yes, it's not a drug to kind of be taken lightly, but also it is something that works. But I'll pop some more info down below because I've not done a very good job at describing it. So why did I decide to go on Roaccutane? So I have struggled with my skin probably since about, my earliest memory of having spots is in primary school. So we're talking about 10, 11 years of age. My mum has always struggled with her skin. She has been on Roaccutane 3 times. So I think it's maybe been passed down to me. But yeah, I've always struggled with my skin, and throughout my teenage years my skin was very kind of up and down. I went to the doctors quite a lot to get like topical creams, and I was on antibiotics a few times, and in the end I was eventually put on the pill for my skin, and my skin kind of was quite stable until I got into like my early 20s, and then it just kind of went all over the place. And then over the past couple of years since I came off the pill, my skin just went a bit crazy. I've never been confident about my skin, but over the past couple of years any confidence I did have completely plummeted. I found that I was breaking out all the time. It wasn't just for my periods, it was literally all the time. I was getting really, really big under the skin spots that were so sore. I was always getting them around here, so you can even cover them up. The amount of times that I've sat with like an ice pack on my face to try and get a spot go down. My skin was really, really oily, and I mean literally like almost dripping with oil, which then had an effect on like my hair. I used to get really greasy hair. I used to get like really itchy and irritated scalp. I used to get spots on like my back and my chest, and I was just incredibly unconfident about my skin and my appearance, and I wouldn't go out the house without full coverage makeup. I wouldn't go to the gym without wearing makeup. I just literally didn't want anyone to ever see me without makeup. And there was a couple of times when I was at my lowest, where the postman knocked really early and I wasn't expecting it, and because I had no makeup on, I literally just ignored him and I didn't open the door because I didn't want him to see me with no makeup on, because I was, you know, my skin was just that bad. It was quite scabby, and I just didn't want anyone to see me without my makeup on, and it was a huge deal. As I think it was kind of 2017 to last year, I decided that I really needed to get this sorted, and the wedding was kind of approaching, and I just had horrible visions of being really spotty on my wedding day, or the photos kind of showing all of my spots, and I just kind of felt like I'd had enough. So I started to go to the doctors, and I eventually managed to get referred to a dermatologist, and I was like convinced that I wanted to get Roaccutane, because it was having so much of an effect on me. It was having an effect on my job. Obviously this is my job, and I just didn't want to film videos. I mean, there were some days I just didn't even want to look in the mirror or leave the house because my skin was that bad. So being like a beauty blogger, and where you have to take photos of your face and do videos, it really wasn't good, and I just didn't want to do any of that whatsoever. So it was starting to have an effect on like my job, and it was definitely having an effect on me, which is why I decided that I needed to take some action. And I was honestly like so relieved when I was told that I could be given Roaccutane, because I kind of made up my mind this was what I needed. So this kind of leads me nicely on to how I got prescribed Roaccutane. Now, like I said at the beginning, this is quite a lengthy process. I have had questions asking me how you kind of get onto Roaccutane. Is it something you can buy? And as far as I'm aware, it's not, because it is a very severe drug. So you have to be referred to a dermatologist. So what you have to do, first of all, before you even get referred, you have to try several treatments through your GP before they even refer you. So I tried the pill, that didn't work. I think the doctor said you have to try about 3 or 4 different antibiotics or topical creams before they kind of give you anything else. So I tried several topical creams that just did nothing apart from make my skin really flaky and sore and sensitive. I tried a couple of tablets, like antibiotics, that did absolutely nothing. And I think I was on the 3rd course of antibiotics, and I went back and I said, look, this is not working. Like, none of this is working. I tried so many skincare products that you would not believe. I was always trying different skincare products. I was always trying different treatments. I tried cutting out dairy. I tried cutting out sugar. I tried all these different things to try and clear up my skin, and literally nothing worked. So I went back to my doctor around July last year, and I was like, look, I've just finished another course of antibiotics, nothing is clearing up, please, like, what can I do? And luckily she was incredibly sympathetic. That's another story. I've already spoken in my pill video about how doctors were incredibly unsympathetic about the pill. The story I have about doctors and my skin is probably another video. But I was very lucky to have a very sympathetic lady doctor, and she was like, do you know what, looking at your records, you've been dealing with this for over 10 years, let's get you referred to a dermatologist. And she was like, if I could prescribe you Roaccutane, I really would. So it was kind of like, finally. Then I had to have it was a 9-week waiting list to get seen at the dermatologist. So it's like a really lengthy process, but I kind of felt positive because I knew something was happening. So when I finally got referred to the dermatologist and I had to go with no makeup on, which was really scary. I know it sounds really stupid, but it was really scary. I remember I sat in the waiting room and I literally had like all my hair over my face because I was just like, I didn't want anyone to see me. It was horrible. I saw a really lovely nurse. She took photographs of my skin. She kind of asked me some questions, looked from my records. And then she got the dermatologist in, who was absolutely lovely. And I kind of thought, because my skin, although to me it was really bad, it's probably not really severe acne. It's probably kind of like moderate to severe. She said to me, you've got two options. You can either go down the Roaccutane route, or you can go down the route of where we give you like antibiotics, a topical cream and something else and try and just blast it. But she was like, personally, I think you should go for Roaccutane. Then I said, yeah, that's kind of what I decided. And she kind of said to me, you are, I can't remember what she said, but it was basically like, you are deserving of this. And it was just really nice because I'd seen so many doctors who'd said to me, your skin isn't that bad, I don't know what you're talking about. Or people who just say, oh, you know, you should just wear makeup. Or do you know what I mean? Like when you've had skin troubles, like people like to give you their opinion and it's just quite frustrating. So it was actually really reassuring to have a dermatologist say to me, do you know what? You have dealt with this for long enough, let's get this sorted. So the next process, I then had to wait a further 6 weeks. I had to go and get blood tests done to check that everything was all healthy. They wanted me to go and get the pill because you are supposed to be on 2 forms of contraception, because Roaccutane is really harmful if you got pregnant. So yeah, so you kind of have to be on contraception, otherwise they're a bit twitchy about it. But I did sign a pregnancy prevention plan, which I think they get all women to sign. And basically it says that you agree to have monthly pregnancy tests whilst you're on the drug. And if you get pregnant, that you basically will have to have an abortion. Like you have to basically sign that. But that was fine. You know, I was in no way wanting a child or anything or had any intention of getting pregnant. So that was absolutely fine. I did go to the doctors to get the pill, and I did go on the pill for 2 weeks, and within 2 weeks I just felt like rubbish. So I took myself off the pill because, like I said on my pill video, I just didn't get on with it, and I was like, maybe I could do it for 6 months whilst I'm on Roaccutane, but within a couple of weeks I felt like just awful. So I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. So I was honest, because to be honest I was a bit like, well, on my record it shows that I've got 6 months worth of pills, so how would they know? But I was just honest with her and said, look, I'm not on the pill, I don't get on with it, and I've signed the pregnancy form, so if I get pregnant, you know, I kind of know the consequences. And she was like, you know, it's up to you at the end of the day. She was like, as long as you've signed that and you know what the risks are. And I was like, that's fine. I did have one nurse during my treatment who wasn't very impressed at all that I wasn't on the pill, but I kind of just said to her, I know what I'm doing. And she was like, okay. But I do know people who have been forced to be on 2 forms of contraception. So I really think it depends on like your doctor or your dermatologist. But I think mine were they were serious, but I think they understood that it was my decision at the end of the day as well. So yeah, obviously everyone's different. Like I do know people who have had to have stuff, you know, given to them. So yeah, so once that 6 weeks was out of the way, they kind of gave me a very big leaflet to read up on Roaccutane. They did tell me not to Google it, like I said before. And yeah, they said think about it, you know, I don't have to decide right now. So I went back 6 weeks later, my blood tests were all absolutely fine. Pregnancy test was fine, I signed the pregnancy form, and I was like, yeah, I want to go on it. So that was very easy, and I was given my first dose. So that leads me on to the treatment. So I was prescribed 6 months. So every single month you have to go for a checkup at the dermatologist, and I had to have a blood test for month 1, month 2 and month 3, and then I was done with blood tests, which was great because I hate blood tests. And at the checkups you have to have a monthly pregnancy test too. So my first dosage was 40 milligrams, which was 2 tablets a day, which I took with my dinner, and I found the first few days absolutely fine. Within about, I want to say, a week, I started to notice my first side effects. The first side effect was that my skin, especially my arms and like the back of my back, got quite itchy. They just felt very irritated and itchy and dry. Then my lips started to get quite dry, and that was kind of like the first side effects that I really started to notice. By about week 2, week 3, my skin had a huge breakout, which apparently is completely normal to happen. And I mean a huge breakout. My skin was incredibly red. I had literally spots everywhere, and it was a bit like, ugh. But it was fine. I kind of knew it was going to happen, and I was like, do you know what, I'm on this treatment, so we'll kind of get through it. But apart from that, everything else was kind of okay. So I went for my second month, and this was when I was put up to the full dosage of 60 milligrams a day. Now, they have a certain amount, like a dosage that they want you to be on by the time your treatment is over, but you don't have to do it within the 6 months. So basically, my doctor did say to me that if the side effects got too much, I could lower my dosage and I could be on it for longer. They kind of said to me, it's not a race, you kind of just have to do what's best for you. So I felt like that was quite good. So I did go on to the 60 milligrams because I felt like the 40 was fine. And that is when the side effects did step up a little bit. So I started to get stuff like a really dry nose, like in the inside, which is a really weird feeling. It basically just feels like you have really dry bogies up there, which was lovely. And whenever I blew my nose, there would be like a little bit of blood, which is nice. Sorry about that. The postman just, I think the postman was around because the dog suddenly went mental. So yeah, so I had a bit of a dry nose. I also found in month 2 that I got quite a bad back, because what it does, it's not just drying out the oil in your face, it's basically drying up all of the kind of liquid in your body. So you find that your joints are a little bit more achy. You just kind of, I just felt like I had a bit of a stiff back quite a lot of the time. Like it felt dry, which is really weird, but it did feel like that. So yeah, so I used to get quite a bad back. So I had to invest in one of those like triangle pillows, like an old woman. What else? Did I say that I've got red eyes? I don't know if I mentioned that already, but I got quite red bloodshot eyes. I haven't like made a list. And I just had really dry lips. I was constantly applying lip balm. I'd probably apply lip balm every 10 minutes. Like I went through so many lip balms. But I did find everything quite manageable because I feel like I found a really good selection of products that helped with all of the side effects. So that was kind of month 2. I had to have another blood test. That came back fine. And then I carried on with the 60 milligram, which was 3 tablets a day for the rest of my treatment. So by about month 3 to month 4, I felt like my body kind of got used to things. I felt extremely lucky because I had a lot of messages from people telling me that they really struggled whilst being on Roaccutane. I've seen blog posts, I've seen other bloggers talk about how much of a rough time they've had on it. So I felt incredibly lucky that I literally didn't really feel that different to normal. Like I do feel like my body adjusted to it very well. And it was just a case of keeping on top of lip balm. I used nasal saline spray and like I'd put Vaseline with a cotton bud up my nose in the evenings. I just made sure I had lots of like oils and E45 to put on my body, and I just felt like the side effects to me were very manageable. I didn't really have a huge impact on my life. I was still breaking out though, and by about month 4 I was starting to get a little bit frustrated because I was a bit like, oh, I'm on this quite harsh drug. You know, it hadn't been plain sailing, but it was okay. and my skin just didn't seem to be clearing up. But by about month 4 I did started to notice some difference. So my skin obviously wasn't oily anymore, it was starting to smoothen out, and it was getting there, which once I started to see results I was like, okay, this is all worth it. So yeah, so kind of between month 4 and month 6 is where it's really kind of started to clear up. I've never really had it clear up completely on my cheeks, and by about end of month 5 I was a little bit frustrated, because in my head I kind of imagined I would have completely perfectly clear skin. But I've kind of realised that everyone's skin's different, and maybe, you know, I'm always going to have kind of something along my cheeks, who knows. But when I think back to what my skin used to be like, I used to have loads of little spots like around here. I used to get really big under the skin spots like on my chin. So the fact that I've only got a couple on my cheeks now, I think that is nothing compared to what it was. So I just kind of went on with the treatment. I feel like I need to kind of like read my notes in case I'm like forgetting anything. But yeah, like by month 4 I was definitely finding my skin was starting to get better. I was noticing that I wasn't needing to use as much concealer. When I was going to the gym I was only putting concealer on my cheeks, the rest of my skin was completely clear. And I was just starting to feel a lot more confident within myself, and just feeling a lot more positive about my skin, which, you know, made a huge difference. One of the side effects that was a bit is the fact that you can't really drink whilst you're on the drug, because it can have an effect on your liver. So when it came to my hen do, so I was in end of month 4, beginning of month 5 was when my hen do came around, and the dermatologist told me to lower my dose. So she said go down to 20 milligrams for a few days, so you can have a few drinks, but she was like, just don't go mad. She was like, have a couple and that's it. And then I stupidly googled it, and there was all these stories about people who got like liver failure, and I think I just scared myself a little bit. So I lowered the dosage, but I did only have a few drinks, and I did feel quite conscious about not being able to drink, and I do think I kind of overthought it all, and I don't think I really let myself enjoy myself because I was thinking about it, if that makes sense. So I was definitely determined that I was going to be off it by the wedding, because I was like, I've not paid all this money for a wedding to not be able to drink. Like, I'm not a big drinker anyways, but when it's like a big event, it's kind of a bit like, that you can't drink. And also, like, my skin had broken out that week as well, so I was feeling a bit of a rubbish mood, because I was like, oh, I can't really drink at my hen do, my skin's broken out, like, it was a bit like, but, you know, it's fine. So that was like a bit annoying, and that was something that I kind of hadn't really realised or really thought about before, but I still had a great time. You know, it is what it is. And then I had my final appointment, which was beginning of May, and she was like, have you had any spots? And I was like, I had one here and I had one here, and I was like, it was literally the day before my period. And she was like, okay, I'm happy to take you off it, because apparently they stop you when you kind of only get in like 1 to 2 spots a month, which I guess is kind of nothing. So yeah, so she took me off because she knew I was desperate to be off in time for the wedding. Oh my god, I keep yawning, I'm boring myself. And yeah, I've been off it now for about 3 weeks. I have a follow-up appointment in 2 weeks' time to see how my skin's doing. I'm not really sure what happens, like whether you're completely discharged. I don't know if maybe some people have to have further treatment. Who knows, but I guess I will see when I go in a couple of weeks' time. But overall, like I said, I was incredibly lucky to not really suffer from many side effects. Don't get me wrong, some days were worse than others. Some days I felt incredibly tired and achy, and my back felt really stiff, and you kind of thought to yourself, what am I doing to my body here? But then other days I felt completely normal. I think the main thing is to just have really good products. I am going to be doing a video talking about all the products that I used whilst on my treatment, which really helped me out with side effects. But overall, I wish I'd done Roaccutane sooner. I am so much more confident within myself and within my skin. I go to the gym now with no makeup on. Like right now I'm sitting here with no makeup on. I will go out and walk frank with no makeup on. I went to Sainsbury's the other day and had no makeup on. And I know to some people that is not a big thing, but to me that is a huge thing. So yeah, so that has made a huge difference. And I definitely feel more confident within myself, like I'm wanting to get back into filming videos. And it's little things like, you know, wanting to take a selfie, or I don't know, it's just the little things that have really kind of made me feel a lot more confident, like I've been wanting to experiment with makeup more, and it's just nice to have nice skin that makeup looks nice with. And yeah, it's been great, and I honestly do wish I'd done it sooner. Like, I've put it off for years and years, and I just wish that I'd done it years ago, because I really think I'd have saved myself like years of horrible, crippling self-doubt. Obviously, it's not an easy drug. I was quite lucky with the side effects. I know people who haven't been as lucky, but for me, the pros outweigh the cons. It was worth doing to have a few months of not being able to drink and having a bit of discomfort, because the actual results have made such a difference to me and my life that I feel like it was worth it. And the dermatologist that I went to is so lovely. I feel incredibly lucky that I was able to go see them on the NHS and, you know, have their support. And I do think it is an incredible thing that I was able to do on the NHS, because I can't even imagine how much it costs to go privately. So I think that is pretty much it. I don't really know what else to say. This is my skin now, and as you can see from the before pictures, it is a huge difference. And I'm just glad that I finally did it. And I think if you're umming and ahhing about it, I would 100% try it if you do get referred to a dermatologist, because you might be like me and quite lucky with the side effects, and you can always come off it. You can always lower your dosage if you do struggle with it. Like I said, I am doing a video talking about all the products that I used whilst on Roaccutane and how they helped me out. So keep your eyes peeled, because that will be coming really soon. And I think that is everything. If I have missed anything out, please feel free to either leave me a comment below or send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. But hopefully I have covered everything in this video, and I hope that it has been helpful if you're either thinking about going on Roaccutane, or you're currently on it, or we just wanted to find out a little bit more about it. But yeah, I am going to go now. A big thank you for watching, and also a big thank you to any of you who messaged me during my treatment or before my treatment, because having messages from other people telling me how their experience went really did help me. So a big thank you if you did reach out. And yeah, I will hopefully see you very soon in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.